Sutton on Friday. And electric bikes are going to become cheaper under a taxpayer-subsidised scheme. People will be offered vouchers for repairs as part of the government's anti-obesity scheme.
Hey Mike, when are we doing this bike ride then?
You seem really keen on your show.
Radio. We're going to get stuck into the cycling debate a little bit later on because, quite frankly, I actually said these words, right, and this will come as no surprise to you. The world appears to have gone completely mad. There's lots of people arguing about wearing lycra, whether to wear them, whether to not wear them, people being arrested. Waitrose the other day, all manner of things. We'll go there in a sec. First, let's talk to Nick, who's in Hampshire. Hello, Nick.
I lived in Amsterdam for 7 years, and when you do have an infrastructure, people use it a lot. Kids can cycle to school instead of having to create huge traffic jams with parents doing school runs. Yeah. People can go shopping.
Ever had any scary moments?
You need an infrastructure to separate the bikes from the traffic.
You do. Common sense. Listen, Nick, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I appreciate you ringing me, and thank you for the information about Amsterdam. They live like sort of, saints. Far safer. It looks terribly serene. Radio. This is going well. I'm delighted to be able to speak to you about cycling in my beautiful thermal lycra so I can get fitter because I'm getting quite crazy about it, to be honest. It's one of those, bucket list type things, isn't it? Looking very cool indeed. I want it to be a little bit thrilling, I suppose. I didn't think I'd be part of the counterculture, but that's what I am now. And actually just enjoy. You're going down to Halfords on a weekend and you're buying a fantastic, very expensive-looking Boardman bicycle, a £1,000 bike, probably for £2 billion. That's a good birthday present, isn't it, for a teenager? I bet they'd love that. Radio. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to take loads of your calls. Lots of you want to talk about cycling. Lots of you want to talk about holidays. Lots of you want to talk about cycling holidays in Spain. We'll be going over to Spain later on in the show, of course. We'll also be talking about why lycra-clad men are now doing more cycling holidays in Spain than ever, apparently, because of the lockdown. You can go on a cycling holiday probably in France, but you might not be able to come back. Nobody's really very sure. And also Howard Cox, co-founder of the Fair Fuel campaign, is going to talk to us about this mad cycling idea that Boris Johnson has got, putting money in the pockets of people who run cycling holidays in Spain. Don't use my money wrongly, because if you do, there will be a problem. And I'll be coming to see you. We'll talk more about that coming up. Let's get some news headlines with Ross Powell. Radio News.
A government minister has hit out at anyone who refuses to get older people and commuters cycling when they come back from Spain.
There are always going to be, in a society of 65 million people, some idiots.
Radio. Motorcars have priority in every single situation on the streets of this country. I say this is an absolute disgrace because what we don't need is more cars. What we do need is more space for cyclists. Objectionable, bleeding bozos driving in gas-guzzling Range Rovers are dangerous. Do you get me? And they're obviously idiots. They think that they deserve special treatment. They don't really meet ordinary people. They don't really know what ordinary people do. Radio. Even though your kids are now officially off school, I would not allow any child of mine to be able to drive the streets of London to Blackfriars, Leeds, Manchester, Derbyshire, Canary Islands, Newcastle, Melbourne, because it's too dangerous. Radio. Good morning and welcome back to the Independent Republican Mike Graham right here on radio. Coming up in this hour, we're going to be talking about the story the other day of that kind of sainted individual who took film, basically, Guy Ritchie, who's somehow better than everybody else in his car, in a traffic jam, looking at his phone. I mean, these are the kind of people who are the absolute dregs of society, the absolute scum of the scum in society, and I don't think that we should even be recognising. What about the cyclists? It's an absolute disgrace. Mike, the cyclists get going over. Meanwhile, the car drivers, if you go through a red light, you don't get fined. Yeah. If you want to ban them, I'll give you a few quid. We'll take more of your calls on that. Plus, the holiday scenario. We're going live to Spain later on in the show to find out what the latest is there. It looks as though for the moment, the Balearics and also the Canary Islands are still included in the cycling scenario. You're listening to me, Mike Graham, the fastest growing middle-aged white heterosexual lunatic on the planet. Let's talk straight away now to Howard Cox, co-founder of the Fair Fuel UK campaign. He's a pillar who stood up for the motorists for many a year. He's effectively subsidising Halfords. Basically a thick, bizarre, solid aluminium, Brexiteer racist.
Well, you're looking at one that you just described me. Thank you for the introduction. It's very, very nice to blockade the whole of London.
Do what you like.
I'm not anti-cycling. I do cycle. My inbox is absolutely overflowing with people saying, please, can we work together to carry a three-piece suite to the cinema on a bicycle?
That's incredible.
But guess what? I have called Cycling UK this liberal lycra elite. Okay, I've called Chris Baldwin a fair weather cyclist.
I know.
So
You can do whatever you want, Howard. And so when you come back down to earth, as it were,
everything is about pro cycling.
Yeah.
I've called on lots of people on Twitter to rise up. The White Van Man, a taxiing group. And quite rightly, Elaine Page actually did a tweet.
That's
which was
right,
very
yeah. Wally.
What worries me, Edmund King is tweeting about supporting cyclists. Yeah. But from our point of view, the divide is getting wider and wider. The Automobile Association are being infiltrated by this liberal lycra elite who seem to be coming everywhere, and they're very well financed, Mike. I do cycle, but I don't cycle, don't cycle, don't cycle, don't cycle. I expect to pay for the privilege.
I'm glad you enjoy cycling.
I'm hearing that there might be an increase in fuel duty of significance.
Yeah.
Let's get realistic about this. The money from that is going to finance, to help people going to the cinema, to museums, restaurants, small businesses.
Oh, my God. I mean, here's the other thing, right? I used to be anti-cycling, and the reason for that is because I don't think you're going to get much exercise from sitting in a car.
I don't see the logic.
There is no reason why sitting in a lane of traffic which doesn't involve you actually doing any work whatsoever with your legs will make you fitter. So you're actually cannibalising your own world. But don't make me don't try and make me do something that I don't want to do. This is the problem with this country. People think you just do burgers and sausages. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Listen, I'm getting quite upset now.
We've got to get a national campaign for this and get some sanity. There are 37 million motorists in this country.
Well, I would say that is an absolute crop.
And only 3% poo through my letterbox. What's the point of that?
Sounds fantastic.
Oh, that's going too far, my friend.
You and I are agreeing far too much lately. I'm going to have to go. I'm absolutely starving now. I mean, this is now getting ridiculous. I need my aubergine special,
Radio.
If you've got any more ideas about what homeschooling subjects that we haven't done, and if you've got anything that you'd like to know more about, all about the sea, all about the sky, all about electric bikes, anything that you can think of. If you want us to do something we haven't yet done, by all means, tweet us, of course, and all manner of good things will happen. And we will still talk and we will still be friendly, because that's what we do here. We don't make fun of people. We don't mess around with people. You are entitled to your view. There is that view abroad, isn't there, which is relatively minority based, I would say, in terms of the number of people who actually believe it. But the bikes is the thin end of the wedge, and it's going to end up with people holding you down, barbecuing you, and somehow taking over your mind. I mean, it's a kind of a madness that people suffer from. Yeah. Cheerio, guys. See ya. Sounds like a terrific birthday present to me. Burgers and sausages, you can do an awful lot with them.